Okay. So, I mean, if you're comfortable with Rally, I mean, that's okay. You know, um, you can learn new tools. It's like the process is similar. Okay. This is, if you ask me, like Rally is way more better. If you're using um, a tool compared to HPLM. HPLM is good. I mean, I'm not saying like it's like, I'm not saying like it's bad or good or something. It's kind of like it's getting obsolete. Day by day, it's actually getting obsolete. You know, so okay, you might use, I don't know, you might use like HPLM as the client. It's okay. I mean, okay. So if you're, if you're using this, it's good. So I can give you like quick uh, introduction on this on like HPLM, but unfortunately it's not ready yet. You can check back in 2 days. Tomorrow also we can check. It's working. We can. But it's like it's like if you ask me, it's like pretty much redundant in HPLM because the reason, right? Because we need to one thing you have like more various modules. Okay, so you have requirements tab. You have requirements tab. You have this test plan, you know test lab, and then you have this defects module. Okay, there are other modules too. Okay, the only problem with that is like whenever you're writing a test case in the test plans. Okay, so in the requirements, business analyst or product owner writes test user stories or requirements or whatever. Okay, so in test plan, you write the test cases there. Okay, in the test lab, you execute the test cases. The problem with the test lab is, whenever you write, test cases in test plan, you cannot just go, in test lab and execute it. You need to pull out those test cases from the test plan and put into that test lab. It's kind of more work. You understand that redundant, not required actually. Okay, but here it's simple. In Rally, you know, where you write the test case, you execute the test case at the same place. It's a little bit it's better. Let me quickly show you that. So I would say like I mean, yeah, of course, like as I told you, don't get addicted to the tool, of course. You never know what kind of tool you'll be using it. Okay, okay. So here, so I've shown you right here when you use this. Okay, you have this option here. You see this, execute this test case. That means you are executing this test case at the same place where you have actually written the test case. That's good. Okay, that means it's like user friendly kind of, right? It's user friendly. But HPLM is not that thing. So you have various modules, and you need to run over that. Pull out the test case there. Execute it. It's kind of hectic work, but it's okay. I mean, you need to get used to that because you never know, what the client is using. Okay. So don't get used to one tool. I'm just saying, okay, so if I don't have any chance to explain that HPLM, so you might, you can use it. So let me quickly check if someone has written some homework. So, one homework is due, like I've given already homework, right? Um, that the final homework actually, you can, create that. Some people have written it, good. Um, Yeah, so it's good, right? So you can write some information, something like you don't have to write or something like that. It's good to it's good to do. I mean, it's a good practice to do. Okay, so make sure you guys attach screenshot. Okay, I didn't tell you, so okay, so that's okay. um, okay, yeah, so it's like this, right? You just attach the screenshot. Okay, good. Somebody has done this. Quickly check. Yeah, so this is how you can do, right? So let's say you're testing in Chrome. Okay, you have attached only one, but you have to go on with series process, and you can do that, but that's fine. Yeah, did someone have any question? Did anyone have any question? Okay. So yeah, so here you can attach this screenshot. Okay, it's good. The reason why I'm saying this, right? Because when you go at work, right? So you miss something. Let's say you miss something, and you were doing something, and suddenly that thing becomes an issue. Okay, that thing becomes an issue, and developer. See, the developer will be very careful. So they will not be monitoring you, but they will be telling, okay, so this is thing. This was now we already fixed this issue. It has to be tested, and says to the manager. And you get a call, directly you get a call saying that, can you stop that by test? So your boss looks these test cases, right? So it says and ask you questions. Okay, so why are these not yet passed? Why? What project are you working on? So if you are not working on project, you need to let your boss know or your lead know. So if you're good, see, it's based on the management. So sometimes the management is good. Okay, so if the management is good, all things will be handled by the lead. But not always management is good, right? Most of them it's not so good. So in that case, you need to report to your manager. So when your manager, you have to report to your manager saying that, okay, hey, I've completed this project, and by today or tomorrow, like, I'm working on this project and it will be done. So please let me know if there is any other project to work on, because, by tomorrow, like, I'll be done. Okay, so if you say that, okay, so they'll be, giving you more work. It's good, right? The more you work, the better position you'll be in. Okay, so that's good. Mm, okay. Okay, okay, good. See, here is, okay, so here you have to be very careful. Okay, so here you are saying a functional testing for Amazon online shopping. But I never gave you, Amazon. I told you to GMO. Okay, so make sure what you guys see, what have you been told and what you are doing. So that's very important at the work, right? I never said to work on Amazon, right? I never said to work on Amazon. So you should not work on something which is not said. That is more important that you have to remember. Okay, you don't do something which is not told, because that's very important, because that gets very serious at work. Okay, so make sure what have you been told and what are you doing. That's more important. Okay, so don't do anything which is not said. So okay. Let's use some difference. So I think it should be good. I mean, if you still want, HPALM, we can work. I can explain about that HPALM. But I think for good. Okay, yeah, so this is how it should look like, right? Now you have uh, this information here, and then put the screenshot. That looks good. That means okay, you're really an experienced guy and showing him, like, saying that, hey, this is the issue. I want this because as a tester, I want this to be fixed as soon as possible. I don't want to delay anymore, just go back and forth and running around with the developers. No, I just want, this is the issue, fix it, because I have other work to do. Okay, I'm working on 2 3 projects, and I have a lot of work, and I cannot run around for the developer saying that, okay, so this shows, like, how much, like, your dedication to your job. Okay, this is how it should be. Okay, so I mean, this should be good if you know, like, how to. So what I mean is, like, how, if you know how to write a test cases, how to open a deflection, how to uh, assign the developer, like, respective owner of the defect, then you're good to go. You don't need any other tools, because any tool, this concept will be same. It don't have to be a Rally or HPLM or Zephyr or any other tool. Don't have to be any tool. If you know the concept, that's it. That's more than enough. Okay, you can Google it, or you can, there are plenty of, YouTube. Just figure it out. You just put it. You can do it. So no big deal. You need to know this concept, actually. Okay, so let's let's check once again if it's working. um, uh, I don't think it will work today. Okay, so let's move to the next topic, that is on QTP. Let's not say I'll be giving an introduction on QTP today. Let's go to the quickly. So here, so why do we use QTP? So QTP, is like, so okay, so it's like UFT, unified functional testing. It's upgraded version of QTP. Okay, so we use, once all the testing is done, like functional testing is done, once integration testing is done, implemented integration, all those things are done. Okay, and you go to regression testing. So in regression testing, that means a new modules, they have added new modules, and you want to test that. Now we are not going again to do the scratch. We are not going to work from scratch, right? Because just because developer added some, uh, they touch some code, or they have, like, edited some code or something, or like they have added new functionality, which was not in the requirement, but we have given it something. Now we cannot do everything from scratch, because we have invested 2 weeks of time, right? And we have tested this, and we have done very good, and we have completed, and fixed all those issues, and everything is good. Now we are not going to do again the same thing from scratch. Okay, that's not the appropriate. So we go to the next testing, that is regression testing. Okay, so in that regression testing, they have integrated so many other features, including some issues or some fixes from the developer. So now you don't do again the same thing, right? Now you do a automation. So you use a tool, automation tool. So that is an example is UFT, Unified Functional Testing, or Selenium. Okay, so these are the automation tools. Okay, so here we'll see how to use a tool. So this is how there's a tool that does the work for us. but you know how to, you need to know how to use that tool, right? Okay. Okay, so this is pretty huge. I mean, the QTP is pretty huge. There's, we call it automation developer. Okay, so there is the developer in QA too. Okay, so that is automation developer, QA developer. Okay, so then you have this automation architect who will be actually knows how to design the code, and how to edit the code, and in a QA itself, right? I'm talking about the QA, not about developer. Okay, so this is all about automating the functionality of an application, right? You're trying to automate all the functional features, and all these buttons, and the images and screenshots and so on. So there's like that automation world is completely different world. So we are not going like completely in detail into that and programming of that, but just few hints, and few introduction on that, like how to use the tool. And if you have a chance, you can you know you can go as a QTP tester or something, or tester. Just make it simple. Tester. That's good. We don't want to go more in the programming side or something like uh, you know Visual Basic, programming in Visual Basic. If you want to go, that's more than good. Descriptive programming, that's good. But we'll keep it simple. Okay, QTP tester or Q analyst. Okay, so that should be good. So we'll be having some idea on that. Okay, so here we have this this tool. Okay, this is the old tool. Okay, QTP, it's no more QTP, it's UFT. So here is the process. Like whenever you have this tool, you go to this process. So this process, you have this preparing. So this tool, right? You have record and playback. Something you have this, tape recorder, right? You record it and then you play back. What you have, recorded the voice, you can play back. The same way, the similar process here it follows is record and playback. Okay, so what does it record? The first question is, what does it record? It records whatever the web application you're using this. Let's say, let's take an example here. This here, this is favorite website, GM Online, and like it records. Okay, you're clicking this button, that means QTP records that. And when it record mode, okay, so wherever you are this, you are placing some order here. Okay, place an order, and it's record all this process. What your buttons you're clicking, what you're trying to do in the web, it records everything, right? And you fill up all this information here. Okay, and you just fill up this. Okay. Here you have recorded this, right? Why you are going to record? The reason, right? Now you want to, you want not even just one field, you want to test with the other names, right? Instead of my name, you put some other name. Okay, something which which is like different and different address. Okay, so not even just this address, you want to put Virginia, or you want to put something like Washington DC or something like that. So all this, the fields have to change, because we need to know, like how the application is, which part of application has bugs, right? So these feature, I mean these fields values, the value of the fields will be keep on changing. So once we record that, we can edit that information later. So once this process, when the flow is recorded, so all this flow is recorded, everything gets recorded, and later we can change this information in QTP. Okay, so that's what the recording process is, right? You will be this first you need to prepare the record. That means you are recording the flow of the application, how we are moving. Okay, the flow is being recorded. Okay, that's a recording. And then you enhance a test. That means enhancing, like tweaking the code, something here and there. Okay, so that's like enhancing. That means if you want something like this name, you want to change it, instead of my name, you go with some other name, right? So that, in that case, you can tweak the code in the QTP. You can change it, and you can enhance it. Or if you want to do parameterization, we'll go we'll move forward with the parameterization. So that is major important topic in this QTP. We'll work on that one. Okay, so so that's the enhancing a test. That means you are actually modifying the code, or you're actually changing some of the features in the code, and you're customizing that as per your requirement. So that's enhancing a test. Then you have like debugging. So if you find like some issue with the code, or you think that code is not good, you debug it. Okay, and so normally the code is generated in the Visual Basic format. Okay, Visual Basic. Okay, so that should be yeah, so it contains the Visual Basic code, so we can whatever the code is being generated, it is on Visual Basic. Then you have the then you can run the test, whatever you have generated, that whatever the code is generated, go ahead, and because all this time you recorded it, you tested the script, and now you want to run that script and analyze. So once you run that script, and if there are test cases which have failed, you analyze the results and viewing that, okay, so we have gone wrong and what we need to do, and the report defects. Of course, the defects should not be there at this point of time. Okay, so there should be minimal defects. Okay, there might be defects. Okay, that's fine. But all the defects, it should have been done in manual testing. Now you don't want to take the defects at this stage, right? If you find any defects, that means someone will get caught saying that, okay, why it was not done in manual testing? Why it is showing up here? And he has to have some really good explanation saying that, okay, this code was not there when we were testing, or like something like this application was not tested, the reason that the code was not deployed, or some very solid reason to explain that why this defect is showing up in automation when it was not done in manual testing. So it's a very valid question, and very you need to have some really solid explanation to do explaining why this defect is. Okay, so normally this defect should not appear at this point at the regression. Okay, okay, so this is the process in QTP. And then you have this add-in manager. See, okay, so QTP, like only doesn't recognize everything, because see, as I told you, right, let's quickly view this. Let's say you are testing in Amazon. Amazon.com. See here, so let's check the code of this Amazon. Okay, let's quickly go to the code. Okay, so this is code of this. So, it's pretty huge, right? So this contains so much like script. I know it also contains some meta, and it also has URLs, links. Okay, it has Ajax, so it has Flash. You see this? You also have this Flash, and then you have there's so many things here, right? There are so many things. So this has HTML, it has Ajax, it has JavaScript, it has Java, and a lot of things here. So QTP don't know everything. That's the reason you have these add-ins. So what we need to include in that? Okay, so default add-in is ActiveX, Visual Basic, and Web. The other add-ins you can add is Java, SAP, Oracle, .NET, and so on. Okay, so based on the requirement, so you have these many features in just one application, web application. You can keep on adding based on your requirements. Okay, this has Ajax, so you just check mark it Ajax. You have this Java here. Okay, you want to check mark that and start your recording, because QTP doesn't recognize everything. Okay, QTP only recognizes objects and its values. Okay, it doesn't recognize everything. That's the reason you need this add-in manager. You need add-ins because new features keep on coming, right? HTML5 and JavaScript and new versions in that JavaScript and so on. So that's the reason you need this add-in. So that makes QTP to make understand like what we are trying to do. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the recording modes. Here we have this, three types of recording. So one is normal recording, analog recording, and low level recording. So in this, normal recording is okay, normal recording. So that means all the left click, okay, mouse buttons are recorded. Okay, left click and most of the left click buttons. Okay, What I mean is, okay, so left click buttons. So that means, whenever you're clicking this button, okay, so that is normal recording. That means you're clicking left, only you're using left button, left click button of the mouse. Okay, left click button of the mouse you're using. So, okay, so such kind of recording mode is called normal recording. Then you have this analog recording. Analog recording is kind of, when you're, trying to use this, this tab option, kind of like you have this tab option, right? When you click on tab, you see this highlighted, light blue color. It's going to the next page. When I hit the tab, see the browser test page, and again it's going to the next one. So those kind of things are recorded by the analog recording. Okay, so this is not like normal recording. You left. It's not about left click, mouse click. It's about the special, special buttons like tab or something like that. Okay, so analog recording. Then you have this low level recording. Low level recording is kind of, right click of the mouse. I'm just giving an example. You don't have to be only one this thing. This is just an example to make you understand. Okay, so low level recording is like something you have this. Sometimes things are different in this web page, right? You right click it, so this thing show up because these options are different when I click on this web page, but these options are different when I click on desktop. See this? Okay, so that means these have different functionalities, and if you want to test these functionalities with with this, you need this, low level recording, right? So basically, testing different functionalities, okay, based on the different modes. Okay, normally we'll go proceed with normal recording. Okay, then you have this run modes, normal and fast. Okay, normal you run, and you know this, right? Run mode is normal. So normally we go with normal mode. Okay, so let's discuss each buttons. Okay, so various buttons in QTP actually. Let's do this in better window. Okay, so this is, this user interface is no more the same thing. The interface has been completely changed in UFT. Okay, so don't expect the same user interface. Okay, so let me see, like in future classes now we'll be also updating this slides. This is like old interface. Okay, so no more this interface is no more actually the same, but the functionalities remain same. Okay, only thing is hidden in somewhere else instead of showing up here. It is somewhere tab. Okay, so okay, let's go to the basics. So this is called title bar, right? This is the title bar, where you have this information about the what is QTP, and that is title bar. And then you have this menu bar where all the menus. So these are the menu bars. So menu bar, like file, edit, view, insert, all these things come under menu bar. Okay. So this menu bar will be there for any version of UFT or QTP, any version. This menu bar will be there. So if you don't find anything here, it will be there in the menu bar. So you don't have to worry. So all these are shortcuts basically. Okay. So if you don't find anything, if you don't find in any of these shortcuts, it will be there in the menu bar. Okay, and then you have this file toolbar. Okay, so in this file toolbar, it's normally the options about the various files, shortcuts. Basically, these are the shortcuts. And then you have this debug toolbar, where you want to debug a script. You have generated a script and you want to debug it. So that's about the debug toolbar. And then you have this testing toolbar where you want to record a session, record a application, web application. So not only web application, you can also do the client application. So UFT is for both. Okay, so this is want to record and run, you use this, that is for this bar. And this is called, oops, sorry, we'll go this one. So this is action toolbar where you have this action. So action is like workspace, worksheet. The code is generated, right? Where it has to generate it has to generate in worksheet, right? Anything which shows up like kind of notepad, it's not exactly notepad, but it's integrated things, something, that's called action. So we'll go detail about that action. Okay, so it's a worksheet. Basically it's just a worksheet. You don't get like, that's a different terminology basically. So action is pretty long topic, we can work on that one. Okay, then you have this test pane. Okay, so this is a test pane where you have this, information about, what are the objects and its values. So basically there are two. One is keyword view and the another is expert view. Okay, so that is, about the test pane. Then you have this, data table. So this data table is actually the Excel. Not exactly the Excel, but it's kind of Excel which is integrated into QTP itself. So it's used whole and sole used for the QTP. Okay, so why this is used? Because you know you want to parameterize. That means just you don't want to put one value. So you want to put more than one value. Okay, instead of just like name, address, full first name, last name, so on, right? So that's the reason we have this data table. Actually, that performs various iterations, okay, based on the requirements. So that's the data table. Okay, so now you have this. This is active screen. So whenever you run this QTP, the screenshots. Normally the screenshots or the checkpoints, whatever you want to highlight something that's shows up here. That's about the active screen. Okay, let's go detail about each and every buttons here. Okay, so let's start with this. So new, when you have this new in the file bar, so you can generate a new worksheet. Okay, and you can click on that. If you have already existing worksheet, you can open this. This is open. Okay, and if you want to save it, you can save this, the floppy disk icon. Okay, you can save this, and if you want to print something, you can use this printer option. Okay, so here you have this, this icon. Yeah, Jana, do you have any question?
Mr. Mitra, please, could you please repeat it from just from the beginning, the steps you're showing, please.
So you want like from the toolbar?
Yeah, just like yeah, you were just repeating about the toolbars. Yeah, please.
Okay, okay, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, so this is about the toolbar. This is file toolbar. Okay, and this is the new to open a new worksheet. Okay, so I hope you can see this like highlighted thing what I'm trying to highlight it. Okay, and then you have this open. When you want to, if you have already worksheet which have to be open, you can open this. And this, you have this floppy disk icon, that is to save. If you want to save something, okay, save your worksheet or save your work, you can use that. And this is printer. If you want to print your code or print something, print the worksheet or something, you can print it. Okay, and then so this one, let's go to this. So this, see, as I told you, right, that is connection to ALM or quality center. Why do you need that? So here is thing, like as I told you, right, it is QTP is a pretty, it's a different world altogether. Okay, not even ocean, it's a whole world. Okay, now there are the QTP developers, QTP automation, okay, automation developers. There are called automation developers. That inside the QA, right? Inside the QA, is automation developer, automation architect, okay, automation, tester, okay, so on. Let's not worry about it. So the automation developer, the automation developer who prepares the script for us, we'll be just doing testing it, that's it. The automation developer who is preparing the script and putting somewhere, right? So he has to put somewhere. So that is like HPL or quality center or rally or something like that. You can put a lot of information in that rally tool, right? You have this attach screenshot, put the file, you have a lot of stuff. So that thing he will put the whole code into that, into notepad or something like that. You need to pull out that his code and put into this. So that's the reason you need this. There is connection to ALM or quality center. That is what it is used for, this one. Okay, and you have this box that is object repository. Okay, so that's called object repository. And so because QTP only recognizes anything when you're clicking it or viewing it or something, it only recognizes through objects. Okay, so can anyone tell me what is an object? What is an object? Let's say, let's take an example. Okay, let's be specific here. Okay, okay, object can be anything, right? Let's be specific. In this application, let's take this sample application. Where do you find an object? So what is an object, and where you can find an object here? Because since QTP only recognizes objects, we don't know anything else. Okay, to recognize in QTP needs to know an object. So how do you think, like where, what is an object and where I can find it? Okay, let's not worry about the physical thing. Okay, not about the physical object. It can be anything: table, chair, room, or something like that. But in the application, web application, let's take in here. That's why I told you, like we'll be specific here. Okay, we'll be specific here. Let's take an application, this Zoom Online, and identify an object here. Okay, so object can be anything, right? Object can be this image. So this image is an object. These buttons, this buttons is an object. Okay, so these are the buttons which this is an object. Okay, this URLs, this text, and everything is an object. So parent object here, the parent object is this browser. Okay, because of this browser itself, you are able to view this application, right? So parent object is this browser, and this all these child objects are the inside the application. So okay, so GMO online post is a um, child object of the parent, and so on, and this button will be the last child object. Okay, because this button can only exist if this application is there, and in this application you can see it because of this browser. So parent object is this browser. The browser itself is an object, right? And all are like child objects. Okay, so whenever QTP wants to recognize it, it can only recognize by object. So let's say this button. So this object has its property and its values. Okay, an object has its property and its value. Let's say, what is a property? So for this button, you have this property and its value. So property is x-axis. Okay, what is the length? Okay, you have this y-axis. Okay, what is the length of that? Height. Okay, height, length, height. It has like 6 centimeters. Let's take an example: 6 centimeters or 1 centimeter. Okay, 2 centimeter and 1 centimeter. Okay, but then all the three buttons have the same size. Okay, so QTP don't know which button to click. Okay, because all the three buttons have the same properties, same values. It has to be a unique value. It has to be some unique value, so that QTP can recognize. So unique value is like, say, title. Title here in this button is enter GM Online, but the titles, all the three are different. So three of them are the unique. Because of that, QTP identifies, okay, so this is the button which we need to click. So whenever you click this, you need to give some unique property and its value to QTP to identify. If you give this in x-axis, y-axis, length, height, breadth, all three buttons are same. You don't know. You have so many properties. You have HTML tag. You know, you have this. You know, I don't know, like as I told you, right? X-axis, y-axis, length, height. It doesn't have any breadth, or because it's not three-dimension object. It's a two-dimension, right? Let's have length and height. Okay, so okay, so that is like an object and its okay object property and its value. Okay, that's how the QTP recognizes. Okay, so whenever you do recording, all this recording is stored in this object repository. So that's called object repository. That means it's a repository in sense database. So all this information is actually stored in that. Whatever the property, whatever the values, whatever the object things, all this stuff. Whenever you try to record, everything is stored there. So that's why QTP don't need everything for you click. Whenever you click this, you don't need once it does, it stores all this information in the database and forget about it, so it can run anytime. So that's the beauty of the recording. You don't have to worry the second time or third time, fourth time. So you don't have to worry, just record it once and done. Okay, so that's a object repository. Okay, and this guy, a man with a hat, this this guy. So this is called object spy. Object spy, because since you want to know what is the property and its values, not always record and playback works, right? Because when a dynamic application, you cannot do that record and playback. That's very hard. In that scenario, you use this the man with the hat guy and click on this button so that he shows all the information about this object properties and its values. Because since QTP only recognizes through objects, properties and values, it shows all the information about this property and its value of that object. You click on this, shows so this is the job of the man with the hat. That's called object spy. Okay, so this is all about it, and then we'll go to the next. So if you have the debug toolbar, you see this debug toolbar. So if you want to edit some code, or you want to test some code, 3 lines of code or 4 lines of code, you can use this. Okay, and you want to stop, if you want to put this breakpoint, if you have some breakpoint, you want to put a breakpoint and run the code and understand it, you can do that. Okay, let's move to the next one, testing toolbar. So this is the testing toolbar, okay, where you have this option of record, and then once you record it, all the information and all the properties and values of an objects or whatever you are trying to do is all stored in this object repository. So whenever you do this recording, right, all the information is stored in the object repository, and then you can run it. So you will be running the same script. So once you know what happens, right, whenever you record it, the property and values get stored in, of course, in the object repository, but also the script is also generated based on that. Based on that, the script is in VB scripting, it's get generated. So you can run that script. Okay, so that's what it is. Run the script. Okay. This is disabled because so this only is enabled when you have record. Okay, we can stop in between. Right about stop. And this is action. So we want to create. So there are many types of action. We'll go to that. Okay, many types of action here. So this is for action. Action, as told you, right? It's a worksheet. So you have this. This is action. So it's a worksheet where you have this object where it, all the. This is the parent object. Okay. And these are all like children objects of this parent object. And what your operation you are trying to do is this. Are you clicking that, or are you selecting it, or so you have this option and its value. What is this value? Okay, so this is all showing. Okay, so you can also have an option to split an action. That is about split an action. Okay, and here you have this to start transaction time and end transaction time. Okay, so so you need this. Okay, let's say you want to you're trying to navigate this application from one page to another. You want to view that granularity of the application at one point. So from one point to another point, you want to find out the granularity of an application, then you use the start transaction time and end transaction time. Okay, so that is about this. Then of course you have this nlog normal recording and nlog recording. Okay, and so this is what this I told you, right? This is the keyword view actually, where you don't have the script. Your script is there in the export view, not in the keyword view. Okay, so keyword view you have all this information about these objects and its operations. Okay, what are the operation you're trying to see, and the values, what are the values that's being shown up, and what is the documentation, the kind of what you're trying to see. So these are the information we have this in keyword view. So normally it's good to see in export view. If you're like technical guy, you want to see in the expert view and see what code is there and how to tweak that code and how to, it's better to see. So this is for general, for the testers, basically for the testers to see this and identify some values in this, and you can run this script right from here. Okay. And this data table, as I told you, this data table is used when you want to do the parameterization of your you know uh, so as I explained you, right? So let's say you are running this web application 10 times, you have to run for a different users, 10 different users. So you cannot record this for 10 times, right? Record it once, run it 9 times. So that is good. So to run that 9 times, you need to give all the information, right? The username, first name, last name, again, the address, all about the 10. You can provide here and parameterize that values, parameterize that object. I'm sorry, parameterize that value, and you can put all the information in this data table and you can run it. Okay. Yeah, does anyone have any question? So this is just an user interface of this QTP. Any questions in this? So we have already used this. So I'll take like 5 to 10 minutes. Is that okay? So everyone, like 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Just finish this slide. So that is about only the buttons what we'll be using in QTP. Okay. Let me know if anyone has any questions. Yeah, Jana, do you have any questions?
So, Mr. Mitra, as a tester, most of the time we will be using manual testing, right? The example you showed QTP automated testing. So, do you think we can have more examples? I mean, is it possible for us to get more real-time examples? I mean, I know that you showed me, one of, like it will help us to make more sense. Is it possible or no?
Yeah, so in that see, actually UFT is not installed in my system, so I'd have shown you the real time how does it work. Okay, but you do have this so in the Google Drive you have the software, you can download it and you can install it, and you can you can see that and how to do that.
I'm sorry, and where is that software?
Oh, actually, I have put into a Google Drive. Okay, let me quickly show you. Okay, just give me a second. So you have this access to the Google Drive, right?
Okay.
Go to the drive, and if you don't have access, let me know. I'll give you access. So once you go here, go to 24th directory, 24. Click on Automation Tools, QTP. You see this QTP? Go to like UFT 12.51. So this is the latest, and download it and install it. You can have this real time. You can see the reason, because it's not installed in my system, because it said like this is not for heavy application, so that's why it was not installed.
Okay, so as a tester, we need to know manual testing. That is very essential. I got that. But will you be working in the automated testing also, or is it
Yeah, sure,
like a?
why not? See, you know, you don't know the how the environment at the client place is. You don't know. I don't know. See, sometimes the people who are working, as a manual have to do some ETL work, and some people who are doing the ETL has to do the manual work. Okay, the same way, some people who are working in the QA, they also tell you, okay, now do we have a QTP installed. Can you work? Can you help your colleague out? So then they'll let you know, tell you that to do on the QTP. Okay, so I mean, you don't have to be that way. So my intention is you don't have to take granted like, okay, manual, I'll be only doing manual. Okay, so it's not necessary you'll be only doing manual. Okay, you might get a project which you will be only doing manual. Thing is, they might tell you other thing too. You don't know, right? So that's the reason, like, I'm just giving an introduction. You don't have to get completely into this. Just in one day video or 2 day video is good. Just hear it once and that's it.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I muted myself. Okay, so let's go to the next topic. We have done this, right? To create a test, there will be, of course, you'll be writing a test case. Okay, and you'll be running this test. Then go to the next one, object repository. So I've already explained you some of this about the object repository. Object repository is something where all the properties and its values are stored in the object repository. Okay, so what is the property and what is value? So let's say we have taken example here, right? This is an object, enter GM online button. So this button, you're talking about this button. Let's worry about this button. So that's an object. So what are its property, what are its values? Okay, so you see here this property and its value. It has type, that is text. Okay, it has name, username, HTML tag, input, and you have this one more x-axis. Okay, you have y-axis, then you have this title, and so on. There's so many other properties, just shown only three, but you have so many other properties and its values. Okay, so all this information is already stored in the object repository. Okay, and you have this. Okay, so what we can do with the object repository, identify the object and view the properties, object properties. What are the properties? We can view this. So that's the advantages of this object repository. So normally this is not something we are always check with it, or we don't always view that one. This is for only for QTP most of the time. Okay, if you are really pro guy, QTP pro, then you want to modify it, you want to delete it, you want to do all those things, but normally we don't do it. Okay, and object spy, as I told you, like object spy is to spy. You need to know this property and its values, right? Here what you see, this property, and to know that you use this object spy, and you get that information, what is the property and its values, by clicking on this. So once you click that object spy and click on this button, it shows its properties and its values. Okay, so here also we can view this, but should not worry about this actually. But let me quickly check if we can view this. So you have this, right? You will be having this table. Okay, so that is about the table, and you have this. So this, half of the time you can find out the property and value here itself. Okay. See, so many things is there only in just one thing. So here is button. So here is the property that is type. Okay, button, and you have this name is property. We submit. Okay. Value. What is value? Enter GM online. You see this value? This is same thing. This is the backend code, of course. Okay, language JavaScript. Okay, we don't worry about it. On click. And so this is what it performs. QTP only sees this property, what is property and its value. So this is the property. Okay, so we don't worry about this actually. Let's not worry about it for now. Okay, so that's about the object spy, and how quick test recognizes objects. So here is a three where we QTP recognizes an object based on mandatory properties, assistive properties, and ordinary identifier. Okay, that means QTP identifies unique. So normally unique, you need a unique property and value to identify it. Okay, so here's the thing, right? So you need a unique. So let's go to the next, synchronization. So why do we need this synchronization? So are everyone okay? Like it'll take just 10 to 15 minutes. We'll complete this slide. Okay, so um, okay, so let's say you're running the script. So everything is good. Your no script is generated. Okay, now you're running the script. Okay, and uh, let's say the server is slow. Let's say from the server is slow and moving, it's and then the application moving from one, when you're trying to navigate this button, it's moving from one page to another page, it's a little bit slow. So the QTP don't know it's a slow, so we don't know. Okay, we know, okay, of course the server is slow, we know, it's moving a little bit slow, but QTP don't know. Okay, in that case you need this synchronization. So what you'll do, right, you'll write some code there like wait, just like wait 10, that means wait for 10 seconds. So in that case what happens, right, the QTP waits because it doesn't know that server is slow. Okay, it just runs the code, but when you put that wait, okay, it waits. So that's the use of this synchronization. Okay, and the way you want to synchronize it, you can go ahead and insert step, and synchronize. You can do this. Okay, so here is like a small code here written. Let's with this. So this is basically the client application. So you have this window is like pop-up kind of, right? So that's window, and the name of the window is slides. Okay, now it's clicking on button, so dot win button, and you're just update order, and you're trying to wait. So this is like one line code. Okay, go to synchronization. Okay, let's move to the next one, that is checkpoints. So checkpoints is to verify. So this is what we do is manually. Okay, although you'll be putting that highlighting, QTP will be highlighting it with with a marker or something automatically, but we will be viewing that. Okay, so that's called checkpoint to verify the point that compares to the current value with the specified property. Okay, so there are various checkpoints here. So we have this standard checkpoint, image checkpoint. Standard checkpoint, if you don't know anything what checkpoint to use, you can use the standard checkpoint. Image checkpoint is used to to verify the image. Let's say this this image which you have seen here, okay, green mountain outpost. And then you have this table checkpoint. If you are working with ETL databases or something like that, okay, that table, okay, now this table checkpoint. And then you have this page checkpoint. If you want to checkpoint this whole page, okay, then you can use this page checkpoint. Then you have this text checkpoint. You want to view this only this text online, okay, then you use this text checkpoint. Text area checkpoint, if you want to know this area of this text, then you use this text area. Bitmap checkpoint is actually like the kind of image checkpoint, okay. And then you have this finally database checkpoint. So these are various checkpoints in QTP. It's used to verify, okay, verify that field, and you can view it. Okay, so this is one option, like explaining like how to view a checkpoint from an active screen. Okay, let's move to the next slide quickly. So you can view it, you can read this document, like it's in Google Drive. Okay, so you can go through it. Okay, let's quickly go through this parameterization. Okay, so parameterization. So what you do in this parameterization? So let's say you have this option in this. Say this is in the keyword view, right? Here you have this, in the value. So we know this what is the property and its value, right? So value is London. Let's say that field value is London. Now you want to parameterize. That means not just London. You want various, like you want London, France, Paris, so on. Okay. In that case, what you do is, right, you can remove this London and put an item and parameterize it. So here you click on this, and instead of constant you put this parameter, okay, and click on data table, okay, and put the name. Just we'll put as p_item, and click on global sheet. I shown you that this global sheet, right? You see this global sheet? This is global sheet. I mean, this is sheet. Here you are using the global, okay. This global using it, okay. If you want to use global or correct. So all we are getting updated in this sheet, okay. That's Excel sheet, which is integrated in QTP, okay. And changing here to the values. So now from 2 we have changed, okay. So now we are putting like London to Paris, Paris to London, Denver to Paris, and Paris to Denver. Okay. Now if you put here, you are putting like 4 parameters here. That means QTP runs 4 times. It goes to 4 iterations. Okay. First iteration it completes from London to Paris. Next iteration again, so on and so on, like 4 times. Okay, that is that's all about the parameterization. Okay, so you are actually what you are trying to do is remove that value from it and putting some variable. Normally you are using that variable and you are defining that variable in the global sheet. That's all about it. Okay, you are removing that value and putting that variable there, and you're you're inserting the values in the global sheet, in an Excel sheet which is there in the QTP. That's all what you are doing in the parameterization. Okay, so let's quickly go through this. You once you run it, the test results get stored, okay, and this is result, how many have passed and how many have failed. This gets updated into the directory, okay, automatically, or if you identify the path for it, okay, you can also get that results in that directory. Okay, you can also do the parameterize a checkpoint. You can also run checkpoint, parameterize a checkpoint. Okay, let's go with test with multiple actions. Okay, here we go to the types of actions here. So there are 2 types of action. One is regular and There is non-reusable and reusable. So actions I already told you, right? It's kind of worksheet. It's a worksheet or kind of notepad. I mean, not exactly notepad. It's kind of for, QTP. You write the code, right? You have to write code somewhere, right? So it's that worksheet. So that is, you can make it non-reusable or reusable. The reason you need this non-reusable, right? If you want to create your own code and put in your own directory or your own work, then you use non-reusable. Reusable in sense, right? Let's say you want to put as a library file. Everyone can use it. Once you recall the function, like for example, some function, library file, you can use it as reusable. So that's the reason you have these two. And once you, create that action and put in a library file, it becomes reusable. Okay, and then you have this locally or externally. Locally in sense you are accessing locally. Externally if you are using various LAN or internet, okay, so you can use that. So that's the reason you have this. So this is only for reusable actions. Okay, that's about the action. Here you can also insert a new action in between the steps if you want. Okay, here it shows like various copying and existing and new action. Okay, you can do this from this menu bar from insert, and you can call a new action or copy a new action. Yeah, here it shows like if you want to make it reusable, it shows like just check mark this box and you can make it reusable. Okay, so let's go to the next topic, that is recovery scenarios. So why do we need this recovery scenario? Yeah, sure. I mean, like just 5 more minutes left. Okay, you can go to the class. You just have a recording. You can uh, later you can read the recording. Okay, so okay, so here recovery scenario. What you have this in recovery scenario, right? Let's take an example here. Let's say you're running the script. Okay, you're running the script and QTP is doing good. Suddenly a pop-up window shows up for no reason, right? You don't know from where it come, and it was not there in the code and nothing was there because some server issue, they had some server issue, and pop-up window shows up. QTP don't know what to do, and it shows the script is failed. But you're running like 30 hours script. 30 it takes 30 hours to run that code, and you cannot go through it just because that small pop-up window whole 28th hour you're running for 28 hours and 1 hour is left and suddenly the script fails, and you don't want that, right? So you need a recovery scenario. That means, let's take it here as an example like trigger event. That means suddenly pop-up window shows up. What QTP has to do in that scenario? It's like telling QTP that once the pop-up window shows up, ignore it or click OK and move forward with the other script. We'll worry about that later. So that's what it's about showing about the recovery scenarios. So there are three types. So one is trigger event. That's what I told you in example. So you have recovery option and post-recovery run option. Okay, this shows about this. Here is right. Once you select the trigger, pop-up window suddenly pop-up window shows up, and for no reason. And you need to tell the QTP that if it's pop-up window, then click OK or ignore it and run the remaining script instead of just failing that. Ignore it and run the next script. So you can can tell that QTP to do that. Okay, so this is all about it. And next we'll be creating tests without an so far we have created with object repository. Okay, in this, let's say there is a static web. There's two types of application, right? Static and dynamic. So this is like static. Okay, because nothing is changing here. Dynamic web page is something which every day something changes. Here GM online is in here, suddenly it will be in the left side. Okay, now its property and the values also changes, right? And this button was here, suddenly it went to the left side or right side. So all these values changes property. So in that scenario, you cannot use that record and playback. You need to use the descriptive programming. So that is all about the descriptive programming. Okay, so here you are actually writing a simple code here, just like dialog. That means this kind of pop-up window, and you are giving a property name. This is a property name and login. Okay, and then dot winedit. If it is a Windows application, you put as winedit. attach. Okay, so this again the property value, the property and its value. Dot set. If it is set, you put a set, or if it is a click, it's a mouse click, there's a click, you put and click, okay, and it's what you are trying to click, this button, submit, whatever. This is an example code where you are trying to write your own code. Okay, so without object passed. Okay, again you can enhance it, by tweaking the code. Okay, you can do that. And okay, let's stop here. So we have actually, almost completed, this QTP. Actually just an introduction. This was the introduction class of QTP, not actually the QTP. So it's pretty long. If you want to know about QTP, it's very huge. Okay. So we have almost like completed this as an introductory class. Any questions in this? This was just an introduction. If you want to know more, or if you are really interested in, you can go to that syllabus, right? So when I show you that syllabus, so here you have this. Oops. So I don't think I put that. So let's quickly. Maybe I missed that one. Okay, let me check on that one. Oh, here we go. Okay, so you have this like almost like 40 tutorials, and it's ever growing. I'm sorry, not 40, they are very more tutorials. When I was there in 2008, 2009, they had like only 40 tutorials. Now it has grown up to, I don't know, like 82 tutorials. Okay, you can go ahead if you are interested. And this is something not which you can learn in 1 or 2 days. It's just for, for introduction, just to know about KTV, what is what and what is not. Okay, that kind of thing. Not exactly, to go into deep and, understand every features and everything. You cannot do that. Okay, so so with this, like, we complete this, um, about QTP. Any questions? So if no one has any questions, can we close this class for today? So let's see tomorrow if we have this. If we get this, that's good. Or, tomorrow if this HPLM shows up, right, we can work on HPLM. It's not. So if no one has any questions, can we close this class for today? Okay, thank you guys.